Yes, please.
All right. In five, four, three, two, one.
Hi. Hello. I'm Vivian Birchall. Hello. I'm Vivian Kopsinger Birchall. And I would like to reflect on Juneteenth with you. The transatlantic slave trade. Did I say Kopsinger Birchall or Vivian Birchall?
You did one of each.
All right, I'll do it again. Hello. I'm Vivian Kopsinger Birchall, and I would like to reflect on Juneteenth with you. The Transatlantic Slave Trade Database estimates that 12.5 million Africans were shipped to the New World between nine. There we go. It was a little fast. Okay. Hello, I'm Vivian Birchall. Hello, I'm Vivian Kopsinger Birchall, here to reflect with you about Juneteenth holiday. About the Juneteenth holiday. Okay, one final take. Hello. Hello, I'm Vivian Birchall, and I'm here to, you know what? Let me first count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Hello, I'm Vivian Kopsinger Birchall, and I'd like to reflect with you about the Juneteenth holiday. The Transatlantic Slave Trade Database estimates 12.5 million Africans were shipped to the New World between 1525 and 1866. About 1.8 million did not even survive the journey, and 10.7 million who did were enslaved. Members of many tribes and ethnic groups were enslaved, with the largest numbers coming from the Bakongo of the present-day Democratic Republic of Congo and Angola, and the Mande of Upper Guinea, the Bay speakers of Togo, Ghana, and Benin, the Akan of Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, and Wolof of Senegal and the Gambia, the Igbo of southeastern Nigeria, and the Mbundu of Angola, the Yoruba of southwestern Nigeria, the Chamba of Cameroon, and the Makua of Mozambique. These people were stripped of their families, culture, language, livelihoods, and their familiar environment. They were forced into labor with no compensation and subjected to physical and sexual abuse. They lived in inadequate housing conditions and suffered from the brutal, unfair winters. They had constant fear of being resold to different masters and having to relearn new ways of survival under them. They were property, just like one would own a home and other household items. They did not have a voice, but they were resilient. They had to be. Slavery in America did not universally end that June of 19th. In a few states, it remained legal by the 13th Amendment 2 years later. Even then, it was perpetuated for decades through peonage by plantation owners telling their former slaves that they must continue working to pay off fictitious debt owed for pressed housing or food, and through laws criminalizing vagrancy under the unemployed black men were arrested. Okay, I missed under which. Let me do it again. Slavery in America, there. Slavery in America did not universally end that June 19th. In a few states, it remained legal by the 13th Amendment 2 years later. Even then, it was perpetuated for decades through peonage by plantation owners telling their former slaves that they must continue working to pay off fictitious debt owed for past housing or food, and through laws criminalizing vagrancy, under which unemployed black men were arrested, imprisoned, and then rented out as labor. After the U.S. Department of Justice formed its civil rights unit in the 1930s, people were prosecuted for keeping slaves in the 1940s and 50s. And you may have seen in the news 2 years ago, and even just that a South Carolina restaurant owner had been convicted in federal court of enslaving an African American man with an intellectual disability for 5 years, forcing him to work 100-hour weeks with no pay and subjecting him to beatings and abuse, and has been ordered to pay restitution. So why do I mention all this? What do these stories mean to us? What does this day mean to us? Today, Juneteenth, is an opportunity to reflect on the cruelty of slavery, to recognize the capability of the human heart to become indifferent and inhumane by choice or greed, and to remind ourselves to not make the same mistakes. Although African Americans were emancipated under the law, there are still invincible chains around them, around us, embedded in biased systems and structures in healthcare, education, housing, criminal justice, leadership, and employment opportunities, to name but a few. We can choose to defy inhumane rules and practices and biases, and in doing so, make our world, country, and community a better and more welcoming place. To all the allies who defy the rules set by oppressors, we thank you and acknowledge you. It is through people like you in the past that we stand here today, observing the day of the world emancipation reached enslaved Africans in Texas. And it is with the help and bold steps of courageous men, women, and children that we continue to break the systemic and structural chains that remain today. In closing, I'd like to request for a moment of silence to remember all the innocent human beings, our African ancestors, who lost their lives to slavery. Thank you all for watching, for reflecting with me. Thank you all for reflecting with me. You feel free to write to me at Vivian Birchall. No, never mind. Thank you all for reflecting with me, and wish you a happy and joyous and reflective June 19th holiday, Juneteenth. All right, that was all over the place, but
Yeah, that's good though. We can do another one.
yeah, let's do another one.
You want to do it right away?
I think let me do it right away. Since I don't want to get up and then
Okay. Do you want me to keep it recording or make a fresh recording?
fresh. I think it's easier for me to